Admiral Kate Morrison stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiance, staring at the stars through the massive viewing screen. 3 years had passed since the nightmare began. 3 years since the Zephyrian Empire decided humanity was too weak to matter. They were wrong about that. The ship hummed around her as her crew worked at their stations. Captain Jake Sullivan checked weapon systems while Dr. Lisa Grant monitored the sensors. Everything was quiet in space, but Kate knew that would change soon. It always did these days. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Sam Parker from the communications station. "We're getting a signal. It's coming from a Zephyrian ship." Kate turned around. Slowly, Zephyrian ships usually meant one thing, another battle. But something felt different this time. The young lieutenant looked confused rather than alarmed. "What kind of signal?" Kate asked. "It's not an attack formation, Mom. They're requesting to talk. They say they have an important message from their High Council." The bridge fell silent. Everyone stopped what they were doing. In 3 years of war, the Zephyrians had never asked to talk. They had only attacked, destroyed, and killed. Captain Sullivan walked over to Kate. His face was hard as stone. He had lost friends in the early attacks, just like everyone else on the ship. "It could be a trap," he said quietly. Kate nodded. The Zephyrians were clever fighters. They had caught humanity by surprise at the beginning of this war. Their ships had appeared without warning over human colonies. Cities full of families had vanished in bright flashes of light. Millions of people had died before humans even knew they were at war. "Put them on screen," Kate ordered. The viewing screen changed from stars to the face of an alien. The Zephyrian looked like a tall, thin person with gray skin and large black eyes. Kate had seen their kind before, but only through weapon sights or in tactical reports. This one wore what looked like a military uniform with strange symbols. "I am Commander Vexthil of the Zephyrian High Council," the alien said. Its voice was strange, like metal scraping against stone. "We request immediate peace talks with your leadership." Kate almost laughed. Peace talks? After what they had done? After Terra Prime? After New Boston? After all the colonies that were now just empty space and floating debris? "You want peace?" Kate said, stepping closer to the screen. "Where was your desire for peace when you were burning our worlds?" The alien's large eyes seemed to show something Kate had never seen from a Zephyrian before. Fear. "Admiral Morrison, our empire recognizes that this conflict must end. We are prepared to offer significant terms." "Go on," Kate said. She wanted to hear this. "We offer to return all captured human territory. We will provide technology transfers to your people. We will pay reparations for damages caused during our initial military actions." Dr. Grant looked up from her station. Even she seemed surprised by what they were hearing. The Zephyrians were offering everything humans could have. Wanted 3 years ago. But that was 3 years ago. Before the counterattack. Before humanity showed the galaxy what real war looked like. "You call them military actions?" Captain Sullivan stepped forward, his voice rising. "You murdered children. You destroyed entire colonies. You turned human beings into ash and then moved on like nothing happened." Commander Vexthil's head tilted. Slightly. "Captain, I understand your anger. But continued fighting serves no one. Your species has proven to be more capable than our intelligence suggested. Our fleets have suffered severe losses." Kate almost smiled at that. Severe losses. That was one way to put it. Humanity had taken the Zephyrian playbook and improved on it. Human ships now moved faster, hit harder, and fought smarter than anything the aliens had ever faced. What started as genocide had become a shooting gallery. "Hold that transmission," Kate ordered. The screen switched back to stars. She turned to her bridge crew. These people had all lost someone in the first attacks. Lieutenant Parker's parents had died on Kepler Station. Dr. Grant's sister had been on the research colony at Wolf 359. Captain Sullivan's daughter had been visiting Earth's moon when the Zephyrians hit it. "What do you think?" Kate asked them. "They're scared," Dr. Grant said. "My readings show elevated stress markers in the aliens' voice patterns. They're not negotiating from strength." "Good," said Sullivan. "They should be scared. They started this war thinking we were easy prey. Now they know better." Kate walked back to her command chair. She had been thinking about this moment for 3 years. The moment when the Zephyrians would beg for mercy. She had imagined it would feel better than this. "Open the channel again," she ordered. Commander Vexthul's face appeared on the screen. The alien was waiting patiently, but Kate could see the fear in its eyes more clearly now. "Commander, I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you," Kate said. Her voice was calm and cold. "Your empire made a choice 3 years ago. You decided that human life had no value. You decided that our families, our children, our entire civilization could be erased without consequence." The alien started to speak, but Kate held up her hand. "You were wrong. Not just about our military capabilities, but about who we are as a species. Humans remember everything. We remember every colony you destroyed. We remember every life you took. And we remember that you felt nothing when you did it. Admiral Morrison, surely you understand that continued warfare will only lead to more death on both sides." Kate leaned forward in her chair. "You're right about that, Commander. There will be more death, but it won't be on both sides much longer." The alien's face showed more fear now. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that your High Council's offer is rejected. Your empire will face the same fate you planned for humanity. The only difference is that we'll finish the job." The bridge crew watched in silence as Commander Vexthul's image flickered with interference. "Admiral, please reconsider. Our empire has ruled this sector for over 1,000 years. We can offer you partnership, trade agreements, shared technology. Anything you wish." Kate stood up from her chair. "What I wish is that you had thought about consequences before you started murdering humans. But it's too late for wishes now." She nodded to Lieutenant Parker. "End transmission." The screen went dark, showing only stars again. The bridge was quiet for a long moment. "Send a message to Fleet Command," Kate ordered. "Tell them the Zephyrians want to surrender. Tell them we said no." Captain Sullivan looked at her with something like approval. "Orders, Admiral?" Kate looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, the Zephyrian Empire was finally learning what humans had known for 3 years. "There are some things you cannot take back. Set course for the Zephyr system," she said. "It's time to finish this war." Commander Ben Parker stood on the observation deck of Kepler Station and watched the last human transport ship dock at the loading bay. The massive space station had been humanity's pride for over 20 years. It orbited the neutral world of Centauri Prime, right in the heart of Council space. From here, humans had coordinated relief efforts, scientific research, and diplomatic missions across 47 different star systems. Now it was time to pack up and leave. Ben had received the Protocol 7 message 6 hours ago. The orders were clear and simple. All humans were to abandon Council space immediately. No exceptions, no delays, no second chances. Every piece of human technology, every research project, every aid mission was to be shut down and brought home. Dr. Amy Collins walked up beside him, carrying a data pad that glowed with lists of equipment and supplies. She had been the station's chief scientist for 12 years. Her research had saved millions of alien lives. Her medical discoveries had helped species that were on the edge of extinction. Now she was packing it all into storage containers. The vegan medical facility is asking if we can leave behind the cancer treatment equipment, she said. They have thousands of patients who will die without it. Ben shook his head. Protocol 7 means everything. We take it all, or we destroy it. Those are the only options. Amy looked out at the stars. I spent 8 years developing that treatment. It was specifically designed for vegan biology. No other species can use it. Then I guess the Vegas will have to figure out their own solution, Ben said. His voice was harder than usual. They voted against us yesterday. Every single one of them. The commander turned away from the window and walked toward the command center. The hallways of Kepler Station were busy with activity. Human crew members were dismantling equipment and packing supplies. Everything that could be moved was going back to Earth. Everything that was too big to move was being prepared for destruction. In the communications room, Lieutenant Gary Chun was shutting down the emergency response network. For 15 years, this system had connected human rescue ships to disaster zones across the galaxy. When earthquakes struck alien worlds, when space storms damaged cargo fleets, when pirates attacked peaceful colonies, the call always went out to the humans first. Sir, I'm getting distress calls from 17 different systems, Gary said. The Altair 7 plague is getting worse. The Rigel mining accident has trapped 3,000 workers. The vegan refugee crisis is spreading to 4 more planets. Send them all the same message, Ben replied. Humanity is no longer available to provide assistance. They should contact the Galactic Council for help. Gary looked uncomfortable. Sir, some of these situations are life or death. People are going to die if we don't help. Ben stopped walking and turned to face the young officer. People have been dying for our help for 30 years, Lieutenant. We've answered every call, fought every battle, and solved every crisis. What did we get for it? Yesterday, they told us we weren't good enough to sit at their table. Today, they can solve their own problems. In the medical bay, Dr. Peter Walsh was supervising the removal of surgical equipment that had been donated to the local hospital. The machines were worth millions of credits and represented years of human medical advancement. The alien doctors who worked alongside the humans were begging them to leave the equipment behind. Please, Dr. Walsh, said Dr. Kelvuk, a Thornak physician with silver fur and worried eyes. This equipment is the only thing keeping our children's ward operational. Without it, we cannot perform heart surgery on young patients. Peter continued packing instruments into protective cases. You should have thought about that before your government voted against us, he said. We offered to share our technology as partners. You preferred to keep us as servants. I did not vote, Dr. Kelvik protested. I am just a doctor. I save lives. Politics means nothing to me. Politics means everything, Peter replied. Your government speaks for you. Your council representative speaks for you. They said humans are too violent to be trusted with real responsibility. Well, now you get to see what the galaxy looks like without human violence protecting you. Captain Nina Rodriguez was having the same conversation on her hospital ship, the Mercy. The ship was 3 days away from Altair 7, where a plague was killing thousands of people every day. Her medical supplies and equipment could stop the outbreak completely. The cure was already developed and tested. She just needed to deliver it. But Protocol 7 was absolute. Captain, please reconsider, said Ambassador Feltrin, speaking through the communication system from Altair 7. The Altarians looked like tall, thin humans with green skin and large eyes. Our children are dying. The plague affects the young first. We have already lost 50,000 people. Without your help, we will lose millions. Nina stared at the star charts on her navigation screen. Altair 7 was so close. She could be there in 2 days. But Earth was calling her home. I'm sorry, Ambassador. Humanity is no longer involved in galactic affairs. You'll need to find another solution. There is no other solution. Feltrin said. His voice was breaking with emotion. Only human medicine can cure this plague. Only your doctors understand the treatment. Please, I beg you, do not abandon us. We're not abandoning you, Nina said quietly. You abandoned us first. The hospital ship changed course toward Earth. Behind them, Altair 7 continued to send desperate messages into space, but no one was listening anymore. On Rigel Prime, Colonel Sam Torres was loading the last of his peacekeeping forces onto transport ships. His soldiers had been keeping the peace on this world for 8 years. Before the humans arrived, Rigel Prime had been torn apart by civil war. 3 different factions had been fighting for control of the planet's rich mineral deposits. Millions of civilians had died in the crossfire. The human peacekeepers had stopped the fighting. They had enforced ceasefires, protected refugee camps, and helped negotiate a peace treaty. For 8 years, Rigel Prime had been stable and peaceful. Now the humans were leaving, and everyone knew what would happen next. Colonel Torres, said General Vask, the leader of the Northern Coalition. Without your forces here, the war will start again within a month. The Southern Alliance is already moving troops toward the border. Sam finished checking his equipment one last time. That's not our problem anymore, General. You people need to learn to solve your own conflicts. But we cannot, Vask protested. We have tried for over a century. Only human intervention brought peace to our world. Then you should have thought about that before you voted against us, Sam replied. Your government representative was very clear yesterday. Humans are too. Aggressive and violent to be trusted with real responsibility. Well, now you get to handle responsibility by yourselves. The last human transport lifted off from Rigel Prime as the sun was setting. Sam watched through the window as the planet grew smaller below them. He could already see military vehicles moving along the roads. The peace that had taken 8 years to build would probably be destroyed in 8 days, but that was no longer humanity's concern. Across the galaxy, the same scene was playing out on hundreds of worlds. Human hospitals were closing. Human schools were emptying. Human research stations were shutting down. Human defense networks were being dismantled. Human aid workers were packing up and going home. God species that had depended on human help for decades suddenly found themselves alone. The galaxy was about to learn what life was like without the humans they had taken for granted for so long. The largest fleet in human history surrounded Zephyr Prime like a steel wall. Admiral Kate Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching 300 human warships take their positions around the alien homeworld. The planet below looked peaceful from space, with blue oceans and white clouds. It was hard to believe that the orders for humanity's destruction had come from down there. All ships report ready, Admiral, Captain Jake Sullivan said from his station. We can begin the bombardment on your command. Kate nodded, but didn't give the order yet. This was the moment she had been dreaming about for 3 years. The Zephyrian homeworld was defenseless. Their fleets were scattered or destroyed. Their military was broken. One word from her would end their civilization forever. Admiral, we're getting multiple incoming transmissions, reported Lieutenant Sam Parker. Not from the Zephyrians. From other alien species. Put them through, Kate ordered. The main screen split into several sections. Kate found herself looking at representatives from 12 different alien civilizations. She recognized some of them from intelligence reports. The Altarian Republic, the Centauri Federation, the Vegan Trade Union, and others. A tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms spoke first. Admiral Morrison, I am Ambassador Tekalon of the Altarian Republic. On behalf of the Galactic Mediation Council, we urgently request that you halt your attack on Zephyr Prime. Kate studied the faces on her screen. All of them looked worried. Some looked terrified. Good, she thought. They should be afraid. Ambassador, this is a human matter. We didn't ask for your involvement. Another alien, this one with green scales and yellow eyes, leaned forward. Admiral, I am Senator Vorkale of the Centauri Federation. We understand your anger toward the Zephyrian Empire, but what you're planning goes beyond warfare. It's genocide. Dr. Lisa Grant looked up from her science station. Her readings showed that the aliens were broadcasting from ships positioned at the edge of the star system. They were watching, but they weren't close enough to interfere. Not yet. The Zephyrians committed genocide against dozens of species, Kate replied. Where was your mediation council then? Ambassador Tekalon's 4 arms moved in, what might have been a gesture of regret. We failed those species, Admiral. We admit that. The Zephyrian Empire was too powerful for any of us to stop alone. But you have already defeated them. Their military is destroyed. Their empire is broken. There's no need for more killing. Captain Sullivan walked over to Kate's chair. Admiral, I'm detecting movement from some of those alien ships. They're not just here to talk. Kate wasn't surprised. She had expected this moment. The galaxy's major powers had finally decided that humanity was more dangerous than the Zephyrians ever were. How many ships are out there? She asked quietly. Sensors show at least 50 vessels from various species. More arriving every hour. Kate turned back to the screen. So you're here to stop us? Senator Vorkale's scaled face showed something like sadness. We're here to prevent a tragedy, Admiral. If you destroy Zephyr Prime, you'll be responsible for the deaths of billions of innocent civilians. Children, families, beings who had nothing to do with the attacks on your colonies. Innocent? Kate felt anger rising in her chest. Were human children innocent when your friends down there turned them to ash? Were human families innocent when they were vaporized in their homes? A third alien, one that looked like a walking plant, spoke up. Admiral Morrison, I am Root Singer Veltar of the Botanical Collective. We offer an alternative. Allow us to oversee the trial and punishment of Zephyrian war criminals. Let justice be done, but spare the innocent. Kate laughed, but there was no joy in the sound. Justice? You want to put them on trial? Give them lawyers and comfortable cells and 3 meals a day? It's better than mass murder, Ambassador Tekalon said. Is it? Tell that to the families on Terra Prime. Tell that to the children who died on New Boston. Tell that to the millions of humans who never got trials before they were executed. Dr. Grant called out from her station. Admiral, I'm detecting massive energy buildups from several of the alien ships. They're charging weapons. Kate wasn't surprised by this either. She had always known it might come to this. Humanity against the galaxy. Captain Sullivan, signal all fleet commanders. If any alien ship moves closer or powers weapons, they are to be considered hostile. Understood, Admiral. Kate looked back at the screen. The aliens were talking among themselves in their own languages now. She could see fear and desperation in their faces. Admiral, came a new voice. This transmission was coming from the planet below. Kate recognized the speaker, Emperor Zixtel, the supreme leader of the Zephyrian Empire. The Emperor appeared on a separate part of the screen. He was old for a Zephyrian, with gray skin and dim black eyes. Kate had seen his image before in intelligence reports, but never like this. The once proud ruler looked broken and defeated. Admiral Morrison, I speak for my entire species. We surrender unconditionally. We offer ourselves for whatever punishment you deem fitting. But I beg you, spare the innocent beings on this world. Take me. Take our leaders. Take our military. Officers. But let the families live. Kate stared at the alien who had ordered humanity's destruction. The being who had thought humans were too weak to matter. Now he was begging for mercy. Your Majesty, Kate said, her voice cold as space. "Do you remember what you told your fleets when they attacked our colonies? Do you remember your orders?" The Emperor's eyes closed. "I told them to show no mercy, to leave no survivors." "That's right. No mercy, no survivors." "Those were your words. I was wrong, Admiral. I was terribly, horribly wrong. We underestimated your species in every way. But please, don't let my mistakes destroy innocent lives." Kate was quiet for a long moment. Around her, the bridge crew waited for her decision. Behind her, 300 human warships waited for her order. Above her, 50 alien ships waited to see if humanity would choose genocide or mercy. Commander Greg Walsh, who was leading the ground forces prepared to invade the planet, sent a message from his ship. "Admiral, we're detecting massive civilian evacuations on the surface. Millions of Zephyrians are fleeing the cities and refugee ships." Dr. Sophie Turner, the fleet's xenobiologist, added her report. "Admiral, our scans show that 90% of the planet's population consists of non-military civilians. Families, children, elderly beings." Kate looked at the faces on her screen. The desperate alien diplomats, the broken Zephyrian Emperor, her own crew, who had lost so much and fought so hard. "Admiral," Captain Sullivan said quietly, "whatever you decide, we'll follow your orders." Kate nodded. She knew that these people trusted her to make the right choice. The question was, what was the right choice? 3 years ago, the Zephyrians had made their choice. They had chosen to destroy humanity without mercy or hesitation. Now humanity had the same choice to make. The fate of an entire species hung in the balance. Admiral Kate Morrison stood alone in her ready room, staring at the star charts on her wall. The entire human fleet waited for her decision. 300 ships. Enough firepower to turn Zephyr Prime into space dust. The choice that would define humanity's future was hers to make. A soft knock came at her door. "Come in," she called. Captain Jake Sullivan entered, followed by Dr. Lisa Grant. Both of them looked tired. The weight of the last 3 years showed on their faces. "Admiral, we need to talk," Jake said. Kate nodded and gestured for them to sit. "I know what you're going to say." "Do you?" Lisa asked. "Because I'm not sure I know what I'm going to say." "Myself." Kate walked to her desk and picked up a data pad. On it were the names of every human colony the Zephyrians had destroyed. Hundreds of thousands of names. Men, women, children. All dead. Terra Prime, she read aloud. Population 400,000. Survivors, 0. New Boston. Population 250,000. Survivors, 0. Kepler Station. Population 90,000. Survivors, 0. She looked up at her friends. Should I keep reading? Jake leaned forward in his chair. "Kate, nobody has forgotten what they did to us. But if we destroy their homeworld, how are we different from them?" "We're different because they started it," Kate replied. "Are we?" Lisa asked. "Right now, there are Zephyrian children hiding in bunkers on that planet. They're scared and crying for their parents. Just like human children were 3 years ago." Kate set down the data pad. She walked to the window that looked out at Zephyr Prime. The planet looked so peaceful from here. It was hard to imagine that billions of beings lived down there, waiting to see if humanity would choose mercy or revenge. "I got a message an hour ago," Kate said quietly, "from Earth." Jake and Lisa exchanged glances. "What kind of message?" Jake asked. "From the families. The survivors of the colonies. They sent a representative." Kate activated her wall screen. The face of a middle-aged woman appeared. She had brown hair and tired eyes, but there was strength in her voice. "Admiral Morrison, my name is Beth Adams. I speak for the Colonial Survivors Association. We are the families who lost everything when the Zephyrians attacked our worlds. Kate paused the message. Beth's husband and 2 children died on Terra. Prime, she was off-world when it happened. Came home to find nothing but empty space where her family used to live. What did she say? Lisa asked. Kate resumed the message. Beth Adams continued speaking. Admiral, we know you're about to make a decision that will affect the entire galaxy. We want you to know that we trust your judgment, but we also want you to remember something. The woman on the screen paused, gathering her strength. We lost our families to hatred, to beings who thought that killing was the answer to their problems. We don't want their hatred to change us into something we're not. We don't want to become the monsters they thought we were. Kate stopped the message. Again, the room was quiet for a long moment. There's more, Kate said. She spoke for all of them. Every survivor group. They all said the same thing. Jake stood up and walked to the window. What are you going to do, Kate? Before Kate could answer, her communication device buzzed. Admiral, this is Commander Greg Walsh. We have a situation down here. Kate activated. The comm. Report, Commander. Ma'am, I'm with the boarding teams on one of the Zephyrian refugee ships. You need to see this. The wall screen changed to show Commander Walsh standing in what looked like a cargo hold. Around him were dozens of beings that weren't Zephyrian. They looked like the remains Kate had seen in the mass graves on other worlds. Admiral, these aren't just Zephyrian civilians fleeing the planet. There are survivors here from species we thought were extinct. The Zephyrians have been keeping slaves. Kate felt her stomach turn. Even now, even in defeat, the Zephyrians continued to surprise her with their cruelty. How many, Commander? Thousands, ma'am. Maybe tens of thousands. Beings from dozens of different worlds. Some of them have been slaves for generations. Dr. Grant looked at the screen in horror. Admiral, if we destroy the planet, we'll be killing the victims along with their oppressors. Kate closed her eyes. The decision had just become more complicated. Commander Walsh, secure those refugee ships. Get our medical teams to help the survivors. Already on it, Admiral. Kate ended the transmission and looked at her friends. Recommendations? Jake thought for a moment. We could occupy the planet instead of destroying it. Set up military tribunals. Put the war criminals on trial. And let the galaxy think we're weak? Kate asked. Or let the galaxy think we're wise? Lisa replied, Kate, there's something else to consider. If we show mercy here, if we prove that humans can choose justice over revenge, what does that do to our reputation? Kate understood what Lisa was suggesting. Right now, the galaxy feared humanity's military power. But there was something they might fear even more, humanity's moral strength. Admiral, came another voice over the comm. This time it was Dr. Carl Mason from the research ship. I've been monitoring the alien diplomatic channels. You should hear what they're saying. Put it through, Kate ordered. The voices of various alien ambassadors filled the room. They were talking in their own languages, but the computer provided translations. If the humans show mercy, they'll be more dangerous than we thought. A species that can choose restraint when they have absolute power, that's terrifying. We could fight their military. We can't fight their principles. Kate smiled for the first time in days. The aliens were afraid of the wrong thing. They thought humanity's weapons made them dangerous. They were about to learn that humanity's conscience was far more frightening. Admiral, Captain Sullivan said, whatever you decide, the crew will support you. Kate walked back to the window. Below, Zephyr Prime continued to turn slowly. Somewhere down there, families were hiding in fear. Somewhere else, war criminals were hoping they might escape justice. She activated the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison. Prepare for planetary occupation, not bombardment. We're going down there to do something. the galaxy has never seen before. "What's that, Admiral?" came a voice from one of the ship commanders. "We're going to show them how humans really fight. Not with weapons, but with justice. We're going to put every war criminal on trial. We're going to free every slave. We're going to rebuild this world the right way." Kate looked at Jake and Lisa. "And then we're going to dare the galaxy to try to stop us." The liberation of Zephyr. Prime began 3 hours later. Human forces landed not as conquerors, but as liberators. They arrested war criminals and freed slaves. They provided medical aid to civilians and protected the innocent. The galaxy watched in amazement. As humanity chose the harder path, it would have been easier to destroy the planet. Instead, they chose to save it. And in that choice, humanity became something the galaxy had never seen before. Not just powerful, but wise. Not just feared, but respected. The war was over. But humanity's real victory was just beginning.